Welcome back, you Washington Football Maniacs. Today we're going to do a preview for Sunday's game against the New England Patriots. So definitely rock with us tonight. But before we get into the preview, if you have not subscribed yet, definitely strongly consider doing so because I'm trying to tell you, man, we put a lot of good content out there concerning the Washington Commanders, and any breaking news we put it out. Anything that has to do with the team, we definitely put it out. So definitely tune in because it's about to get interesting this season and beyond. So again, looking forward tonight. Tonight we're going to do the preview for the Washington Commanders on the road at Foxboro, Massachusetts, against the New England Patriots at 1:00. Looking at betting odds, and this is from BetMGM. The Commanders are 3-point underdogs. Ouch! So looking at that, this is a very interesting game. First game since the trade deadline moves, sending Montez Sweat to the Chicago Bears for a second-round pick, and sending Chase Young to the San Francisco 49ers for a third-round compensatory pick. And also, there's been reports that the Commanders might be looking at Bill Belichick next year, possibly. So this is definitely, a really crazy game considering both of those storylines. But getting into it, Greg, we're looking at one offensive player, one defensive player that you want to spotlight for this game, and then we'll do a prediction. And we're going to call it night because we know it's Friday night, and look, this bottle of bourbon is definitely giving me the stink eye. So let's get into it, man. Looking at the offensive side of the game, side of the team, what player do you kind of spotlight as a guy who needs to either stay consistent or needs to step it up in this game versus the Pats?
Well, it's easy, Brandon, to look at the obvious. People are going to obviously look at Sam Howell. They're going to look at Terry McLaurin. They're going to look at maybe even Logan Thomas. I am going to look at Jamison Crowder. Why?
Right.
Well, because Curtis Samuel is out. So, and Diami Brown, he's kind of starting to go away a little bit. And we're starting to see a lot better play. They inserted Jameson Crowder last week in the Philadelphia game. He played really well. And I'm going to put out a video about Jameson Crowder, too, because this was one thing, I will say this. We have bagged on Ron Rivera and the front office, and rightfully so. But this is one thing that I really will give them props for is bringing Jameson Crowder back.
Yeah.
I hated to see him leave the first time. So, but Jameson Crowder is going to have to step up because we need that third guy. Bill Belichick, the New England Patriots, they usually have their show with Bill Belichick each week where they go over kind of what they feel like they need to do against their opponents each week. And Bill Belichick is talking about Terry McLaurin and how much of a weapon that Terry McLaurin is and what plans that they have to keep Terry McLaurin in check. And so I'm kind of like, okay, if you're going to keep Terry McLaurin in check, so you still got Jahan Dotson, but you also got Jamison Crowder. And Jamison Crowder can be a weapon as well. And so I think if Jamison Crowder can come out of nowhere because people are going to forget about him. He can have a very big game because, again, Hal has a lot of weapons. If he's got enough time, any one of those receivers can have a huge day. So my offensive guy is going to be Jamison Crowder.
I like it. I like it. I'm looking at the offensive coordinator. And I tell you why. If you look at the stats for the New England Patriots, yards allowed, they are 10th in the NFL. So they do not give up a lot of yards. As far as passing yards, they are 18. So they're about middle of the pack. But if you look at rushing yards allowed, they are ninth. So they are a top 10 defense when it comes to giving up rushing yards. So Brian Robinson's going to have his hands full. That's if they give him more than 10 attempts this game. But Eric Bieniemy, he's got to be creative. Jahan Dotson kind of came into his own last week. That was that breakout performance we were kind of waiting on.
Yes.
He had a heck of a game, man.
Yes, he did.
I love what I saw from him. But, this is where Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson earn their money. Be creative. A lot more sweeps, a lot more, be creative with the offense. Don't be stagnant. So I think that on the offensive side, I'm looking at Eric Bieniemy kind of utilize the tools he has because, like I said, his defense, New England has not really looked at to do much this year. They kind of interesting, obviously losing to Miami, but they did beat Buffalo, so their performance has been kind of, back and forth. Losing to Las Vegas, getting blown out by New Orleans. So they had, they're a team that is kind of like a rattlesnake when they're wounded. They can still strike. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely cannot come into this matchup underrating this team at all, especially at home, especially against
Absolutely.
Belichick.
Yeah.
So Eric Bieniemy's got to earn his money. So looking at the defensive side now, this is a whole new unit now as far as our bookends. You're looking at James Williams and Casey Hill now, which both of them have shown a lot of effort. They've really when they get playing time, they play hard. So I think
Yes.
this is another reason why this organization felt comfortable making these moves. Shipping Montez and Chase out of town because Hill and James Williams, maybe they can make this transition a lot smoother. So looking at the defensive side, and I want to tell everybody, excuse both on both of us, man. We both sound like the Godfather right now. We both are dealing with
I love it. I love it.
colds. So we were
Yes.
we were laughing, man. If you're looking for the new Godfather movie, man, it started here. So
It's
just
right
letting y'all
here.
know,
Yes.
right here. So, but looking at defense, man. Who's that spotlight guy you're looking to make an impact?
Well, I think you just kind of said it. I'm going to go with Casey Hill. You know
Okay.
why? Because the times that he has been given an opportunity, he's taken advantage of it. He, he may not look like the dynamic, explosive defensive end, but he's a worker. He's like a blue collar type of guy, and I think that he can be. I mean, he knows how to get to the quarterback. He doesn't stop. Now he may not have the swim moves and stuff like that, and we may see as he, has more playing time. You'll probably see the reason why that they don't put him in as much. It's easier when the guy's only given like 10 plays per game. He's going to take advantage of those plays. He's fresh, and he's going to look better than offensive lineman who has been working all day long. So you got to take that into consideration as well. But I think if Casey Hill can hold up throughout the game and play at a high level, he's going to have to. So I'm looking for him to have a big game. I just want to see overall. I think that hopefully this makes Jack Del Rio be a little bit more creative on defense, by default, because you hinge on, well, I have a full complement of first rounders on the defensive line. They should be able to just do what they want to do. You don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So now you got to be creative. So maybe you have certain creative blitz packages that you're having to, insert into your defense. So by default, maybe that defense actually becomes better because your defensive coordinator is being forced to be more creative. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at guys like Casey Hill, and then, maybe if I can sneak in a second guy, I'm going to stick with the defensive end, Smith Williams as well, for him to have a big day. They need to pressure Mac Jones because I think Mac Jones, when he gets pressured, things fall apart. Don't allow him to sit back there and have an easy day.
Yeah, man. Great minds think alike because it kind of leads into my spotlight, which is I must have something for the coaches tonight, but Jack Del Rio is my guy, and the reason for that, again, looking at the stats, um, New England, if you look at passing yards, they're 20th, but their rushing yard is 28. So I think this is the prime time for him to put the pressure on the quarterback. Like you mentioned it, blitz him, put pressure on Mac Jones because look, he's a young QB where he's kind of his MO around the league is where when he's pressured, he often makes mistakes. Blitz him, put pressure on him, force him to throw the ball. I definitely want to see a better performance from the secondary. I want to see Kendall Fuller get involved. St. Juice to me has to step up. Um, I guess I'll kind of ask you this before we roll out, man. where are we with Emmanuel Forbes? Now, I'll be honest. We talked about it off season, leading up to the season. I'm a guy who expected Christian Gonzalez. We got Emmanuel Forbes, and I admit his tape at Mississippi State was impressive. 6 pick sixes, but very underwhelming. The issues that a lot of people had, including myself, his weight, his frame has been an issue. So where are we at? I mean, do you believe he should play? And if so, how many snaps do you realistically see Jack Darrell giving Emmanuel Forbes?
I mean, I think you have to. I don't think you start him, but I think you're going to have to put him in certain packages because I think the longer that you keep him out, you keep him on the bench, the guy's going to lose confidence.
Yeah,
One of our Hall of Famers, Darrell Green, came out and said that he could fix Emmanuel Forbes in 10 minutes. So I'm like, why not invite Darrell Green to
yeah,
have a conversation and help the guy? Um, what was Darrell Green sliding on the coaching staff? I think he was making a general statement
yeah,
because it seems like in the NFL, as a rule, a lot of these first rounders are just kind of thrown into the fire and being basically said, go out and do what you prove to us that you're a first rounder.
yeah,
And that's a lot to deal with when you're like a 22, 23-year old. And I think Darrell Green is somebody who could really mentor Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, Darrell Green was not a big guy.
yeah,
I mean, it was just Darrell Green was all willpower, and
yeah,
so he had confidence. So I think if someone like Darrell Green has that type of confidence that he could say, I could fix this guy, allow him to come in, talk to him, mentor him, get him back up, give him every opportunity to succeed, because I don't want Emmanuel Forbes to fail, and that's not because the Commanders drafted him. It's just in general,
yeah,
the young man. I want all of these guys to succeed, no matter who they're drafted by in the NFL. This was their dream, and I can't imagine getting to that high of a level, and then to just see it all crumble. I mean that's a
yeah,
lot to deal with mentally. So, um, you know, give him the opportunity. If you are half the coach you say you are, then you should be able to know what to do to bring this young man along. Even if you got to step back and say, you know what, we put too much on you. We know
yeah.
you are a first rounder. We put too much on you. We know how to develop you. We're going to develop you the right way, give you a chance to succeed. Um, I mean, if it takes a little longer to develop him, but ultimately he becomes a Pro Bowl Hall of Famer future guy, then why not take that time? You know, um, don't just try to ruin the guy in
Yeah,
1 year. But I was with you, Brandon. I was not excited about the pick. That was not the pick I would have had.
yeah, yeah,
But it is what it is. We picked him, so give him every opportunity to succeed. But I would not necessarily just throw him back into the fire. I would put him in certain packages, let him get some easy wins, get his confidence back up, get his legs under him, and as he continues to improve throughout the season, give him a little bit more, a little bit more, and by the end of the season, you'll start to kind of see him improve.
yeah. I totally agree. You mentioned Daryl Green. I think that would be a great thing for them to bring him in. And I don't think it would be a slight against the coaches because they brought in Warren Sapp to work with his D line in the past. So I definitely think it'll be a good thing because looking at the D line, I mean Warren Sapp was a force for the Tampa Bay years, man. So I'm
Yes.
saying, Daryl Green is a legend at cornerback for this team. So I definitely would invite him to come work with him, man, because you can't learn. I mean, I would love to learn from Daryl Green if I'm a corner, man, because he's the guy. So, yeah, I agree on all points, man. It's going to be interesting to see how they go forward with Emmanuel Forbes because, I mean, if you do give him playing time, you have to. I wouldn't not put him out there against your lead wide receiver. AJ Brown, that matchup was just very questionable to me because
Yeah.
AJ Brown this year, man, is on a whole nother planet. I mean,
Yes.
he
He
killed us on
is.
double teams, man. So Would I have put him on Devontae Smith? Yeah, because they have similar builds. So I thought that would have been his matchup. But he's not the only one struggling. St. Juice he's got to step up too, and that's why I said.
Yes.
And the good thing is, looking forward, before we roll, man, this team has $90 million next year in cap space. So they're gonna have, and here's the thing that people don't realize that the word rebuild is thrown around right now. Obviously, if you look at other sports teams in Washington D.C., the Washington Nationals are rebuilding, the Washington Wizards are rebuilding, but looking at the Commanders, they don't necessarily have to go through a full rebuild because you have a foundation. On
Yeah.
the offensive side, man, you have a solid receiving core. Now, if you do want to entertain, maybe trade offense for Curtis Samuel, see where you at. But because I don't know, does his contract run out? I mean, try to think. I got to look at the contract situation with.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's been around for like 3 years, so I think at this point we could probably not have to pick him up for a
yeah,
fourth. So we're probably fine getting rid of Curtis Samuel at this point.
yeah. I mean, maybe you want to give De'Ami Brown another look. To me, Logan Thomas maybe is somebody you waive because I think that Cole Turner is ready to take the step up in him and John Bates. So you have a valuation, you have a good foundation, especially on both sides of the ball. But with $90 million in cap space, and the fact that we just added two intriguing picks to the to our, I mean to the draft next year, you know, and who knows, we could use a couple of those picks to move up. A lot of people saying quarterback. I do agree. I think quarterback is set.
No.
I think we're good, man. I think we're good at quarterback. Um, Even if Caleb Williams somehow falls in your go out there and get pieces we need, man. Best
Yes.
player available, offensive line. So I'm kind of rambling, I'm getting excited, again, we're gonna go ahead and roll, guys. Definitely appreciate everybody. Like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know. What do you guys think? How many snaps would you give Emmanuel Forbes? And again, everybody, Sunday, 1 o'clock on Fox. So definitely support the team and let's try to get this victory in Foxboro because hey, look, it ain't over yet. We
No.
made moves, but it ain't over yet. So definitely was root for them. So hail to the Commanders and peace. Everybody have a good weekend.
Peace.